Phil Harris in Hollywood, I have news for you. The world's most famous exploding tape recorder just may live again if plans for a big screen version of an old TV favorite come through. Paramount Studios is working on a film version to reunite the Mission Impossible family. A by no means impossible mission, considering the money they'd probably be willing to pay such former series stars as Peter Graves and Martin Landau. And if you think a television series that went off the networks back in 1973 cannot live again, I'd remind you that the same studio has had a little success translating to movies a little TV series from the 60s called Star Trek. Starting next year, Dolly Parton plans to welcome 1 million visitors a year to her place. And our friends in the volunteer state are way ahead of me on this story, but it should be news for many of you. Dolly's making big news in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, where she plans to renovate and greatly expand an existing 1880s-style family theme park. She plans to rechristen it Dollywood. Construction is already underway with new additions to include a restaurant called Aunt Granny's Dixie Fixins, a reference to Dolly's family nickname, a museum, and the ever-present gift shop. Even a back porch theater whose stage will actually feature the house in which Dolly grew up. The grand opening is set for May 1986. Y'all come. Science fiction king Isaac Asimov, whose best-selling books number in the hundreds, has come up with a new wrinkle in the field of fundraising. At a benefit last month for New York City's 165-year-old Mercantile Library, the highest bidder won immortality. That bidder will be identified by both name and occupation and somehow woven into the plot of the next science fiction short story written by Mr. Asimov. We can only hope he won't turn up green with long ears and come from Mars. And finally, from the legal ledger, a federal court in Atlanta, Georgia has blocked, for the time being at least, filming of a sequel to the most famous motion picture of all time, Gone with the Wind. In Georgia, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit said that Gone with the Wind author Margaret Mitchell and her estate never intended the story to be continued. Thus, they prevented a planned sequel from being made. But you can bet no Hollywood studio, MGM in this case, will let one legal setback ruin their plans. Or they were hoping the film would be appealing anyway. Phil Harris in Hollywood. We'll talk again.
Hello, I'm Phyllis Newman. Welcome to Inside Broadway on Showtime. This month, we'll talk to Superman Christopher Reeve, who is in director Andre Serban's playful version of The Marriage of Figaro. Then, David Letterman's musical director Paul Schaefer will be our guide as we visit the rock musical Just Once. On Broadway Beat, we'll boast about Showtime's Ace Award nominations. That's cable TV's version of the Emmys. And finally, we'll meet satirist Jules Pfeiffer, whose comedy Grown Ups is November's Broadway on Showtime. Beaumarchais' classic comedy, The Marriage of Figaro, was written in 1784. While this witty attack on rank and privilege may or may not have helped to incite the French Revolution, it of course provided the plot for Mozart's famous opera. And now innovative director Andre Serban has given us this highly stylized slapstick version.
And as it is the duty of the wife always to follow the husband...
If only I had the nerve to speak.
Oh, speak, speak, my child, and flex that authority you shall have over me for life. You were about to say...
I forget.
Something about the duty of a wife.
Yes. When his lordship, out of love, married her ladyship, he abolished forever a certain custom and right of noblemen.
Ah, yes, a great loss for the girls. Ah, Suzanne, what a charming custom this was. Now, meet me at dusk in the garden and we'll talk about it. And for this little favor, you shall be amply rewarded.
No! His lordship is not in his bedroom!
It's Basil!
I'm here with Christopher Reeve, one of America's finest and most versatile actors. Can you give us the plot of The Marriage of Figaro in 25 words or less?
Starting
now.
Oh, God. Basically, the moral question of a count who thinks he's God's gift to the world and has all this aristocratic privilege, trying to steal his servant's fiancée on the wedding day.
Right.
That's the main action of the play.
Right.
And it's a symbol for the way the aristocrat has always squashed the working man. And this is the working man's revenge. He wins.
That's a very good way, the way you did it. That was brilliant.
No, I understand it.
But tell me, obviously this play was written in the 18th century, and it works terrifically in the 20th century. Why do you think that is?
Because it's been helped. This play's been helped twice. Once by Mozart, who made it into an opera, and the second time by Serban, who found a way to bring it into the 20th century. If you leave this play alone, it's pretty dusty. It's not really all that well constructed. Some of the critics have said, well, you can't play with the classics. Nonsense. What you're trying to do is make compelling theater. And this is vulgar theater. It's supposed to be rude, it's supposed to be political, and it's supposed to be funny, and it's supposed to be for working people. That's what it was intended in its day. It was played in a tavern. You know, when Mozart went to see it, he went downtown.
Tell us about your character. Describe the Count.
He's a vain, arrogant, stupid man. A really deadly combination.
Have you made a conscious decision to keep working in the theater?
Yes, I think the theater's more fun, and I think there's a Hollywood obsession right now with the so-called Brat Pack movies. You know, with pitching movies at 17-year-olds. And if that's being a movie star, I'm not really sure that means what it should mean.
Let's jump from the manners and mores of the 1780s to now. Can 3 decades of rock songs be turned into a 1980s hit musical? Well, apparently yes. Just Once, a rock musical featuring songs by Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil, hit numbers such as Walking in the Rain and On Broadway, is being brought back by popular demand in January. Musical consultant Paul Schaefer of the David Letterman Show will be our guide and chat with Barry Mann.
Barry, did you start off as an artist or as a songwriter?
I started off basically as a songwriter, but as I evolved, I thought that I would become an artist. And I had the bug, and I had the one hit with Who Put the Bomb. And then I've been waiting for a follow-up ever since.
In the meantime, a good 25 years later. And the most amazing thing about this show to me is that it's a fictional story about a love story about 2 characters who fall in love in the 60s, and they're listening to the radio and they hear all your old songs on Broadway, Who Put the Bomb only in America. And as the kids grow up, and they grow up right through the 80s, and we find out that you're still writing hit songs today. It's amazing. The songs follow the characters right through.
Right.
You're, I think, really the only songwriting team of the pop era that's had such longevity.
Yes, it is true, and I'm very grateful for that.
What's it like when you sit here and you watch all your songs go by on a show all about you?
I almost feel like I died and went to heaven.
Movies have their Oscars, television their Emmys, and we have the ACE Awards, the prestigious cable TV awards for excellence. Showtime's Broadway series was nominated for 12. Our production of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof was nominated for 5. Best Theatrical Special, Best Actor, Rip Torn, Best Writing, Tennessee Williams, Best Art Direction, and Best Lighting Direction. Master Harold and the Boys won 4 nominations as Best Theatrical Special, Best Actor, Matthew Broderick, Best Writing, Athol Fugard, Best Direction, Michael Lindsay Hogg. Our production of George Bernard Shaw's Heartbreak House earned 3 nominations, 1 for Rosemary Harris as Best Actress, 1 for Best Costume Design, and 1 for Best Lighting Direction. The envelopes will be opened on December 3rd, and you'll be among the first to know. Jules Feiffer has been described as not only the best cartoonist writing, but the best writer cartooning, with movies like Carnal Knowledge and plays like Little Murders. This time, he's done it again with a look at the modern American family in Grown Ups. This month's Broadway on Showtime, starring Martin Balsam, Charles Grodin, Mary Lou Henner, and Gene Stapleton.
Look what Jake did. Naturally, you believed her. When it was a fight with strangers, you believed the strangers. So why not, Mama? Between me and any grown-up, you believe the grown-up.
I'm here with Jules Pfeiffer, the author of this achingly funny but scathing drama. Is your outlook on American families really as bleak as it seems to be in the play?
Well, my outlook on everything, because that's my stock in trade, is generally tough and without sentiment. I don't think of my vision as bleak. I think of it as realistic. I mean, just trying to pinpoint what really goes on in relationships, whether it's between men and women or parents and children or whatever it is, and tell the story. And in theater or in cartoons or whatever form I'm working on, tell a story. And Grown Ups happens to be this particular story, which some may describe as bleak. I find it full of dynamism, a lot of regret, a lot of rage, a lot of anger. But who, living within a family structure, growing up in a family, can't recognize those emotions?
Jules, as you know, I loved Grown Ups when I saw it in New York. How different is the television version?
On TV, it's all scaled downward so that the reactions, the eye movements, the facial expressions, the little ticks, a thing in the cheek, all become monumentally important. And in many cases, reactions of characters without lines tells you more than dialogue does. And that doesn't usually happen in theater. So it's more intimate. It's more suffocating in the way that family scenes where people are at war with each other and yet really don't want to hurt each other are. You know, it's just that you're unable to get away from it. It's more relentless.
Do you consider parents to be responsible for their children's problems?
Only my mother with me, but other than that.
And be sure to join me, Phyllis Newman, next month for another look inside Broadway.